You're looking at 5 of the bracelets that I created while I was working on my second book, The Art of Friendship Bracelets. When I was taking photos for the book, I would make just enough of the friendship bracelet to explain the design. And the photo that you see at the start of the chapters are actually a completely different bracelet altogether. It's a little bit cheaty if I'm being honest, but it saves a lot of time in the production of the book. I included so many new tutorials for some of my favorite patterns. And honestly, you'd think a year is plenty of time to make a book, but it really isn't. I was on a fairly tight schedule, trying to juggle the book, the channel, and also my job that I go full-time to. It was a really fun experience, but I also thought that it's weird how I don't ever finish the bracelets for the book. And so I thought I'd change it this time. I'm actually finishing these 5. I picked out some of my favorites, and I am giving them away to you. Click the link in the description or go to rockynook.com/friendship and submit confirmation of your pre-order to be entered into the giveaway. That's all you have to do. I'm going to be giving away these 5 bracelets, also my favorite rainbow string, and some other bracelet making goodies that I'm putting together, and also some notes and all that kind of fun stuff. I really enjoyed this. I am not typically in the habit of going back and making patterns that I've already made before. I either only make one of a pattern, that's the most common scenario, or if I am making multiples of a pattern, I'm typically doing it roughly around the same time. I usually get obsessed with a specific pattern and I really want to see it in a different color, or maybe with some kind of special string, like a multicolored string or a sparkly string. I would love to see that kind of variation. And so there are a few patterns that I've made multiples of. I have collections, even some of my tutorial bracelets. I just posted a tutorial bracelet for shell bracelets. That said, that's actually different patterns, but they're also using a shell, so I guess that's a little bit different. But the candy wave is a good example of this. I was really obsessed with that pattern and I made a bunch of them for the tutorial. I did that for the Greek wave as well, which is actually included in my book. The Greek wave is an absolute classic bracelet pattern that I really, really love, and I had wanted to do a tutorial for it for ages, and it took me forever to get around to it, but I finally did. The video is up, you can watch that, but it's also, as I said, first of all, it's on the cover of the book, which is really exciting. I just really love it. I love how collections of bracelets look when they're all in different color combinations, and so that's what I used for both of the covers for my books. Actually, I used 2 different bracelet collections, and I'm including that tutorial as part of the book as well, in written out format, step by step, and I just think that's really exciting. I just really love it, but I never really go back and recreate bracelets that I've already done. I'm just not in the habit of doing that. It's for the same reason why I don't really reread books, or I don't really travel back to the same place that I've been before. There's so much to explore, there's so many new books to read, there's so many new places to travel to, so many new patterns to try, that as much as I really enjoyed the previous ones, I don't really go back to them. I want to explore more and more and more. So it was definitely a treat to be able to go back and redo them, because I do really love these patterns. They're some of my favorite. That's why I made tutorials for them in the first place. And I was so happy to be able to include these in my book. And what you're seeing here in these clips is a selection of obviously the 5 bracelets that I'm giving away, but I actually included so many more tutorials. I went through and carefully selected my absolute favorites, and some of them honestly are a little bit ridiculous. There is one where there is over 40 steps, and that is actually the one that is the watermelon that you are seeing in this video. That one has over 40 steps in it. I did the staggered candy stripe and a bunch of other ones that are quite complex, to be honest, but I really love them. I felt like I could explain them, and I figured, you know what, why not? So this book, people ask me what the difference is, right, between this book and the previous book. I would say they are both standalone books, so you do not have to have my first book in order to get this one. You do not have to get this one if you have the first one. They complement each other, but they are not necessary for each other. So if you don't have the first one, you can just get this one if you'd like to. The biggest difference is that the Beginner's Guide to Friendship Bracelets is pretty much what it says, right? It's a beginner's guide. It covers a really broad range of topics, quite deeply, but I don't have that many bracelet tutorials in that book. There are a few beginner-friendly ones, but it is mostly an exploration of like the theoreticals behind bracelet making. So it goes into very deep explanations about how to start and finish bracelets, how to read patterns, how to create your own patterns, how to mix and match and modify different techniques, all of these different things. And then there is a chapter that is quite small, but there's a few tutorials of specific bracelet patterns. Whereas in the Art of Friendship Bracelets, I kind of went in the different direction, where there is still that stuff that is important for beginners to understand. Obviously, I explain the basic knots, I explain how to start bracelets, how to finish bracelets, etc. I don't explain how to read patterns, that's quite a key difference. But in the Art of Friendship Bracelets, I explain specific bracelet patterns in a lot more depth. There's just a lot more of them. The bulk of the book is made up of bracelet patterns specifically. And as I said, I chose some of my most favorite ones. So there's a lot of my favorite designs. And I think it's good, obviously these designs exist on YouTube, so you also don't have to get the book if you don't want to. You can watch my tutorials on YouTube in video format if that is what you prefer. But the book exists for people who are more visual and like more step-by-step instructions. And also it obviously goes a lot more in depth into certain topics because just the format allows me to talk a lot more in depth, a lot more tips and tricks that are specific to a specific pattern or bracelet making in general. There's several sections, and even in the beginning where I explain some of the basic techniques, like the basic knots, the loops, triangle ends, etc., I went a lot deeper with it this time because I think just with time and I don't know, having a little bit more experience with it, I was able to connect certain pieces of information to each other in a way that just didn't really occur to me before. Like there's certain repeating concepts within making the knots and making the triangle ends, etc., that actually reappear when other things happen, and so I was able to like make those connections and just give more tips and tricks and go deeper a little bit into all of these sorts of things. I also speak a lot about how to modify each pattern, like how would you make this pattern with a loop? How would you make this pattern with a triangle end? What would you do if you wanted to do more colors? How would you add strings to that? So there's all sorts of different explanations for that kind of thing as well. And I think the process of writing a book really made me look at bracelet making in a different way as well, because it is, as I said, a completely different medium. Explaining via a video, I have the privilege of being able to literally show you step by step in a video how to do certain things, whereas in text, it's different. Obviously, there are photos, so I'm able to include some visual, but it's static. It doesn't move. And so in certain scenarios, I had to add little arrows to showcase like when a string is going over or under, because it's quite difficult to see when it is static. When it is a video, I can show you I am threading this string under and then putting it through the loop, whereas in a photo, you can't really tell, especially if the strings are the same color. It's just, you can't see that, so I had to like add little arrows to show that, and all of that kind of thing. And also, I went about it in a way where I wrote all of the text first. I mean, kind of obviously, right? You have to write the text before you take the pictures, but I wrote all of the text first, and I specifically wanted to make sure that you are able to understand what is going on pretty much from just the text. At least that was my intention, and hopefully that did come across. I worked with my editor on that as well to make sure that everything was legible and understandable, which, by the way, the editor did an amazing job. She absolutely shocked and surprised me with the different things that she was able to catch while having pretty much zero understanding, at least I'm assuming, in bracelet making. She was able to catch that I was referring to the wrong string, or I was saying the wrong type of knot. I was saying a forward knot when I really meant a backward knot. There were a couple of instances where I just mixed it up, and she was able to catch that with pretty much no understanding of bracelet making. So hopefully what that means to me is that my text was understandable enough that she was able to understand where I got it wrong. But as I said, I really tried to make sure that the text itself was understandable and you could comprehend what you are supposed to do pretty much without even having to look at the photos. So the photos and the text need to complement each other. You can't just rely on the image to tell the story. You have to make sure that they complement each other, and so that if it's not clear in the photo, it should be clear in the text, and vice versa. If it's not clear in the text, it should be clear in the photo. People learn in different ways, and again, when I'm making a video, I have the privilege of not only showing you in video, but also explaining the same thing multiple times. I will show you the same thing again and again in different ways and use different phrases, because sometimes you will say something to someone and it just won't click, and you have to repeat the same thing in slightly different words for them to understand, and that's completely normal. And obviously, as I said, in the videos you have the privilege of doing that, but in photos you don't really, because it's kind of the same thing. There are certain instances, right, where there is a repeating part of the pattern and I have to explain the same thing again, and yes, I would try to use different words there, but in general, when you're explaining things, you're just kind of explaining them as is, so you have to make sure that people are able to understand you. And so I really tried to do that, and then when I was taking the photos, I also really tried to make sure that everything was visible and legible. And when I was explaining the basic knots, for example, in the second book as well, I also kind of went in a different direction. I explained the half knots. So each knot, as you may know, consists of 2 half knots. A forward knot is 2 half knots of a forward knot. A forward backward knot is a half forward knot, and a half backward knot. I'm confusing myself, but you get what I'm saying. Like, they're made up of 2 half knots. So I explained how to make the half knots, and then I said, okay, so to make a forward knot, make 2 of this. To make a backward knot, make 2 of that. To make a forward backward knot, make 2 of this, then that, etc. And I explained it in 2 different ways. I explained it in the way that I would explain it to a beginner, and that is, if you've watched my basic knots video ever, you would have seen me kind of loop a string around my finger, make a figure 4, then poke my finger through the hole, hold the other string with my pinky to keep it tight, etc, etc. But in reality, I only do this for beginners. I explain it this way for beginners because it is very easy to visualize, and it's a lot easier to see when you're doing it that way, and also when you're a beginner, it's easier to maneuver string when it is held tight and there is a big loop, like a big gap for the loop. When in reality, when I'm making knots, I make them completely differently. I only really use one hand. I don't ever loop my strings over my pointer finger. I just use one hand and kind of loop the string around itself. There's plenty of videos in which I've shown and demonstrated this, so you might be able to see. Actually, I don't remember. I might have included it in the beginner's knot video itself. I filmed that so long ago that I genuinely do not remember. But in the book, I made sure to explain both. One of which is just incredibly helpful, I feel, to visualize and to see. But then the other one is like, hey, well, just a heads up, this isn't how I actually do it. If you find bleh, words, my God, I was gonna cut that out, but honestly, that was an impressive stumble. I feel like I'm just gonna have to keep that in. Marvel at that. Anyway, you might find that as you get further into bracelet making, it'll be easier for you to actually make bracelets this way. And so I included both because, again, like, different people learn in different ways. I've also even seen people who are very experienced bracelet makers creating much better creations than I ever have, and they make their knots completely differently in ways that I didn't even explain. So there's so many different ways that you can do it. So providing these different options, I think, is quite helpful and quite cool as well. It's fascinating looking back at these videos and seeing myself just wearing a jumper and being all cozy and making these bracelets. As I'm recording this, it is currently 32 degrees. I am sweating. It is so hot. I really enjoyed getting to finish these bracelets. That was a very fun experience for me, and I am so happy to be able to give these away to 5 of you. I actually keep track of all of the bracelets that I've ever given away. There's quite a few at this point. I've given away bracelets to so many different corners of the earth, and it is fascinating to think about that and to imagine you guys all around the globe with all of my different bracelets. It's just really fun for me to imagine. If you are a receiver of this further down the line, if you win these bracelets and get them, please tell me, send me pictures. I love to see that. I love to see my bracelets on your arms. So if you get a chance, I would love that. If you just tag me on Instagram or send it to me on Instagram or Discord or wherever, even on email, honestly. Like, I just really love to see it. I think it's really cool. But yeah, as I said, if you would like to be entered in the giveaway to win one of these bracelets, and also my favorite rainbow string, which I bought specifically for this purpose. I had to wait for it to be delivered for like a month and a half because they don't sell it in the UK, but I just really love it and I really wanted you guys to have it as well. So I hope you appreciate that. But yeah, these bracelets, some rainbow string and some other goodies and like some handwritten notes, etc, etc. Yeah, just submit confirmation of your pre-order at rockynook.com/friendship and you will be automatically entered. And I will really appreciate that because pre-orders help a book's performance so much. If you didn't know, if you are planning on getting my book at some point, and you just, maybe on the fence or maybe just didn't decide right now, if you're planning on getting it at some point, getting it on pre-order is the best time to get a book, just in general, for any kind of book, including my own, but also just know this about the publishing industry. Pre-orders matter a lot for books. It's a good indicator for bookshops and vendors and etc. to know what a book is going to perform, how it is going to perform once it actually comes out. And so that's why authors will really be trying to get people to pre-order because it's important for the book's performance overall. It's just how much it'll get stocked, etc., etc. So if you would like to get my book eventually, a pre-order is a great time to do that. And obviously you get the chance to participate in the giveaway, which is international, by the way. You don't have to live in a specific country to be able to enter. Internationally open. So yeah, rockynook.com/friendship to enter. And the book comes out on June 23rd in the US and July 23rd everywhere else in the world. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.